week's edition of Kitchen Science, we're going to make a soap silly putty. And silly putty is, it's something that pliable that you can pull and twist and roll in a ball, and you can do different things with it. And so it's very easy to make, and then I'll show you a couple things that you can do with it. So what you're going to need is some cornstarch, some dish soap, a tablespoon, a bowl to mix it in, and maybe like a little small snack size bag to store it in. And then also some sort of a newspaper type of quality with a picture on it, okay? So what you're going to need is 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And we're going to put that in the bowl. Remember how to level it off. You don't want a mound of it. You want to have it level. So that's 1. And this is what I mean by you don't want the big heaping spoon like that. You want it to be level. So we're just going to take the side of the box and we're going to make that leveled off. So it's level all the way across, so it's not a big mound over top, it's flat. Okay? And then we need 1.5 tablespoons of dish soap. So I can use the same spoon. So I'm going to fill this up. This is 1 tablespoon. And then half. So about halfway up. And then you just mix it together. Make sure you mix it really good. Kind of looks like a toothpaste consistency. It almost looks like a toothpaste. Now, if it's too runny, you can add more cornstarch. If it's too dry, you add a little more dish soap. Okay, so that might be a little too runny. So maybe we'll add a little bit more cornstarch. Just a little bit at a time. I don't want to put too much in there because once I put it in, you can't take it out. So let me bring that up so you can see it. So that kind of thickened it up a little bit. I think I'd like it a little bit thicker. A little bit more. Mix it in. Yeah, that seems about right. I want it more of a thicker. We don't want it runny. We want to be able to play with it. Yeah, that's getting better. That's about what we want. If it's too runny like batter, you're not going to be able to really play with that. It still seems a little sticky. I'm going to add a little bit more cornstarch. Mix that up. Afraid to get your hands in there. It's like a nice putty that you can play with. thicker. You can play around with the consistency too. You want to be able to make it like pliable. There we go. That's more like it. So see how it kind of really thickened up? It's almost like a clay. That's what you want. That's something I can do. Okay? So it's almost like a Play-Doh. See that? Now, one of the things you can do with it is if you have one of those, if you have like a toy, this one will stand up on its own, but sometimes we have, when we're playing, we have a toy that just keeps falling down, and this would be a nice little way to kind of keep something standing up like that. You could play with things, anything you have that doesn't stand up. If it's like maybe a doll you want to, or a game piece that won't stay standing up, you could use that. You can also make impressions. You want to do almost like we did with the fossils before. You can make impressions with it, and you can just squish it around in your hands, play with it that way. One thing we used to do with Silly Putty when I was younger is we would take a picture out of the newspaper, like a cartoon, and we would press it on to the paper, and when we took it off, the image would be on there. But yeah, okay, that's not really taking the image for me like I wanted it to. But still, you have a nice little ball of putty that you can play with. Okay? It's almost like playing with Play-Doh. So you can maybe put it in a mold. You could do that. Make different shapes. If you have a Play-Doh kit, you could shape it. You could do all kinds of things with it. Okay, so you might just want to just play with it in your hand like that. Okay. So let me know what kind of activities or things that you found were fun to do with your soap putty. And also, if you notice, the color of the dishwashing liquid is what color. It's a very light faded color of that. So whatever color you use, I'd like to see, show me some pictures of your different colors that you make. I wonder if you made one of these, and if you had green and you had a blue, and you made the two different colors and then mixed them together, if they would like make a swirl. There's just different science activities that you can do with that. So let me know what kinds of activities you did with your Play-Doh or your Silly Putty, and if you make different colors, I'd like to see them, if they swirl together, if they mix, or if they look like a swirl, a marble color. So that would be pretty cool. Okay, have fun, and I will see you next time. Hi boys and girls. So earlier we made some silly soap putty, and I put it in a little Ziploc bag to store it. It'll store for a little while. And now we're going to make some slime. So what you're going to need for slime is a cup of water and a cup and a half or possibly 2 cups of cornstarch and some food coloring. I chose blue, and a bowl to mix it in. And so the slime is going to have a different consistency than the Silly Putty. The putty is more of a soft, pliable, you know, you make it like a Play-Doh, and the slime is going to be gooey and slimy. So let's get started, and then we'll compare the differences. So the first thing we're going to do is put a cup of water into the bowl. Now, if you don't remember, or maybe you didn't have me earlier in the year, when you have liquids, you put them into the glass measuring cup, up to the 1 cup line, okay? We use these for the powdered or solids, these measuring cups. Liquids, we use this kind of measuring cup. So we put the cup of water into the bowl, and now we're going to measure out 1 cup half of another cup into the bowl and mix it together. Right when that's about level, remember we don't want it mound. We don't want it to go like a big mound. We want it flat, level. That's a cup. And then we'll do half a cup to start. Now, if I did make a big mound, I could just take a butter knife and go, or my finger and go across to make it level, okay? And we're gonna drop that in, okay? Now, I know I'm gonna get my hands in this, and that's how we're gonna mix it. So I wanna have my cornstarch ready to go in case it's too runny and I need to add some more. Because if it's too watery, we're gonna need another half a cup of cornstarch. So I'm gonna pour this out because once my hands get slimy, I don't want to touch the box and get everything slimy. There we go. Okay, so I'm also going to open this up. Okay, so we're just going to, you're going to kind of see it's kind of already getting slimy. So we're just going to kind of just get those big clumps. You might have to dig. It's almost like, it almost feels like when you dig in the mud. You know, there's like the water on the top and then the mud's on the bottom. So we're just gonna keep on doing that. Okay, now this is really watery. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and add half of this. And see if that's, because same thing, we're just gonna kind of mixing that up. So it's starting to thicken up. I'm going to add the rest of it. So now we're up to 2 cups of cornstarch to a cup of water. Now it's getting to be more of a slime consistency. Mix that up. I think it's still pretty watery. I don't think I was going to need that much, but I'm going to go ahead and add a lot. There we go. And if you do add too much cornstarch, you can always add a little bit more water to even it out. Because there we go. Now it's getting thick. That's what we want. Oh boy, this is really, really pretty thick now. I think I might have too much cornstarch in there. But you can see that it really is getting slimy. That's what we want. Okay? And then we can add some food coloring. I just put 3 drops in. So we're going to try to mix that food coloring up in there. Kind of hard to do. I'm going to need to get both hands in there. This is really kind of messy, which makes it fun. Now, we got this blue slime. And remember, if it gets too thick, just add some more water. I think mine's getting a little too thick. But you can see it's hard to see that. You can just play with that. Make different colors. There you go. You could also put it in a big, thick Ziploc bag and just kind of play around with it. Make different words or shapes. Look at that, that's fun. Cool. And that's it. You can just stick your hands in there and just play with the slime. Notice the slime is a different consistency than the silly putty that we made. This was more like a Play-Doh. And the slime is very different. This is pretty fun. So you can play with it for a little bit and then store it in a large Ziploc bag and take as much air out of it as you can. And that should be, you should get a lot of playtime out of this. Whoops. It's very messy, but I'll clean all that up. Fun slime. All right, well, that's it. Have fun playing with your slime.